Please welcome Vice President of Cross Cloud Services, Vittorio Viarengo.
Welcome to Explore 2022. You made it. And on behalf of VMware, I want to thank you for being on this amazing journey with us throughout the year. You being the explorer, always pushing the envelope, challenging the status quo, doing things differently. And in the process, you help your organization grow, save money, and in turn, you made your careers. Over the years, I met hundreds of you, and there's stories of people getting promoted because they save money, because they change the way you do business. It's like endless. And us, with our legendary engineering team, behind the scene, building the technologies, the tools, the GPS, the maps, the navigation that you needed to be successful in your journey. And think about it. In the process, we have transformed entire industries. We have created new ones. And reflect about that for a second. How often does that happen in one's career? I think we should all feel very lucky, us as employees of VMware and you as our customers, for what we achieved together. But this journey, unfortunately, comes with a curse. And the curse is that in this information technology world that we live in, innovation never stops. And so the journey continues. There are new areas to explore, new boundary to be broken. And as we look through our binoculars, what we see, as you heard this morning from Raghu and Kate and Amanda and everybody, the new frontier is multi-cloud. And when I look at multi-cloud, I see a bunch of different islands that need exploring, that needs building, that needs, they're disconnected, they're siloed. And it's time for us to push the envelope once again and turn it into something that can accelerate our business and our careers. This is happening at the pace that's mind-boggling. Like 68% of new apps are built in the cloud, right? Sometimes behind our backs. And developers are very smart, and they look for the innovation. And what is the innovation in the cloud? So they look for every differentiated features of various clouds, and that's why we ended up with pretty much everybody using two or multiple clouds. And you may think, hold on a second, Vittorio, I just have my private cloud, and then I'm Azure. I was talking to a customer yesterday morning. He said, tell me about your cloud journey. He says, yeah, I'm on-prem mostly, and then we have Azure. I said, really? Just one cloud? I said, oh, yeah, but then the business unit is using AWS, and then these other companies that we acquired is using Google. So, okay. So that's the reality, is that you are multi-cloud. And so when you look at this multi-cloud, like everything in IT, it starts nice and neat. There's one cloud. We're using Azure, right? We're cloud first. That's where we're going. Yeah. But in IT, that's never the case, because even if you're using one cloud, you're still managing your private cloud. Edge emerges increasingly in an environment like healthcare, manufacturing, retail. So you already have 3 different stacks to manage and to operate. But if you double-click on the public cloud, again, it's just not one thing, because you have the big 3, then you have the enterprise player like IBM and Oracle coming in very strongly, Alibaba. Then you have a sovereign cloud in EMEA and Asia-Pac, in places where you need sovereign data and sovereign applications. And so when we look at this, what is the tremendous advantages? That's why we have innovated so fast. That's why we have built all these applications, 25 applications every minute or whatever Raghu said this morning. It's incredible. But in the process, and because of the hyperscaler do their thing, they're bringing innovation, they're bringing differentiated features. Each of these stacks bring their own way of building application, their own way of managing application, their own way of securing application, and so on and so forth. All the way to how you connect these applications to end users. And so at VMware, we have been looking at this picture for 5 years now. Raghu saw this coming 5 years ago when we started our first partnership with AWS. And when we see this, we see something that is very, very familiar to us. Because think about what we do. When I walk down that engineering aisle and I look at our engineering team and their DNA, what is their DNA? Their DNA is to get stuff that was not designed to work together. You know? So on-prem, we use the hypervisor. That was our way to create a level of abstraction that allowed us to pull resources, automate, and go faster. In the cloud, that layer is taken. So we need to do a new approach, a higher level approach, a new level of abstraction that factors out the common things that you can do to build applications, to manage applications once you deploy them. The infrastructure for enterprise application, whatever possible, we're going to talk about that, what are the use cases there. The way you connect applications, secure them, and finally, the way you give, applications are only useful if somebody can access them and do something with them. So how you integrate with the end users. And so last year, we introduced VMware Cross-Cloud Services. VMware Cross-Cloud Services is that high-level abstraction that allows our customers to build, manage, run, connect and secure, and access, remember all 5 of them, consistently across all cloud. That's where the simplicity comes in. All without hiding or preventing you to access the differentiated feature of each cloud. Now, this morning you heard about the high-level announcement. Last year we launched this as a vision. And today with Arya and Tanzu, we are bringing much more innovation around this. But today in this session, we're going to go deeper and get pretty technical about how customers use 1, 2, or a combination of these cross-cloud services to power these critical transformations that most of our customers are undertaking, whether it's growing their business through apps, accelerating their cloud transformation, or empowering their end users. And I want to stop just for a second because you're not going to find better visuals and better explanation of cross-cloud services than today in this session. So I want to give you a chance to boost my ego, follow me on Twitter. But no, seriously, there were 9,000 people at the keynote, and there are like 500,000 customers out there that can use this information. So tweet away, tag it with VMware Explorer, cross-cloud services, and then if you want to stay appraised on anything, cross-cloud services, that's the handle to follow. So, ready to dive in? We're going to dive into all these 3 transformations, get very technical, see the product in action, so we not just see pretty picture, and my slides are pretty, but we're going to also see the actual product in action. So let's start from the apps. Right? To me, all we do in IT, I don't want to trivialize it, but it's just the developers go. They just go. They build application. They do innovation. And then the stack and everything else follows, how you run it, how you manage it, and so on and so forth. So as we said, our developers have gone into this new frontier in the multi-cloud. And what do they do there? The first thing you need to do in the multi-cloud world, in these islands, is to build stuff, right? To build something that allows then your civilization to flourish. And the stats are like, more and more stats in this presentation about how fast this is happening. And so the challenge there, I'm just going to call out 2 challenges. One, you think that you're adopting Kubernetes and you're done, right? But Kubernetes are probably at least 12 different distributions. And to take a modern application from writing the code to that code being in production, there are probably 50 steps. So that's where our application platform comes in. And with Tanzu, for Kubernetes operations, we give you a way to quickly lay down any Kubernetes environment, including from our competitors, right? Because we want to give the developers freedom of choice. The last thing you want to do is tell developers what to do or what not to do, right? Once you lay down the foundation, like sit in one place, very quickly deploy the foundation, the next step is to be able to give that developer that single pipeline so that they do what they're good at. They're building software, they're building application logic, they drop it on the pipeline. The pipeline that you, as operator, set up will pull all the open source that are required by the application, making sure that you're not distributing malware by accident, right? Use the build-in process and deploy it in production. So once you do that, once you have the applications in production, then you need to deploy those policies, right? For example, these developers can only access machines or environment this big, right? And then application policies like this application, this service can only talk to this other service with microsegmentation. And finally, you have to secure the whole stack. Not only by making sure that what you're distributing is the latest version of Kubernetes, has been patched, has been, it's clean, but also that you are protecting the application with API encryption, making sure that if you have a PII service only talks to PII certified service and the communication is encrypted and secure. So basically, we thought through really the entire life cycle, how to give the developer the choice, provide the foundation and the guide rail so the developer doesn't get in trouble, doesn't get all of us in trouble, and then how to secure the entire environment. Okay, so we talk about how to build applications, and by the way, no hypervisor was used in the execution of all that, right? So we lost that hypervisor religion when it comes to cloud, because we have to speak the lingua franca of the cloud, which is all about open source and those type of standards. But this is where we're going to go into the next phase, or next transformation. Because when you are exploring a new territory, like we're doing here with multi-cloud, it's like you're forgetting where you've been, right? You're bringing your custom, you're bringing what you know how to do. In the case of multi-cloud is to bring your application, your enterprise application to actually run your business, your legacy application. I love legacy because I talked to a customer once who said, Vittorio, you call it legacy, I call it stuff that works, right? And then delivers value. And so we have to find a way to bring this along the journey. And the challenges here are clear, right? Different stacks, different management again. When you bring in this application, how many of you have tried to move your application to a cloud only to realize that months later you have to refactor the application, it doesn't fit? And so this is where VMware Cloud comes together. So VMware Cloud is an engineered integration of cloud management capabilities, infrastructure capabilities, and security capabilities to give you the most cost-effective way to bring your applications and your infrastructure to the cloud. And so if you use VMware Cloud, and I strongly encourage you to set up a pod and try it, you can quickly deploy VMware Cloud, that environment that you trusted us to run your most mission-critical enterprise application for 20 years. We ported that environment natively. This is a misconception. This is not a layer above a layer above a layer. This is a native service on AWS, Azure, Google, and so on and so forth. So what is the advantage of that? I was talking to Guide One the other day and said, well, we moved to the cloud with VMware Cloud. My team didn't even know that we moved. They just opened the console and they realized that they had all this environment deployed. And once you do that, then guess what? You can vMotion your application untouched to the cloud. S&P Global, again, you heard from me this morning, they had to shut down a data center in Belarus because of recent events. They did it in 1 weekend. In 1 weekend, they set up another environment, moved the application, never looked back. And then, of course, once you're there, you can use ARIA, which is an integration, a new generation of vRealize and all the things that you already are familiar with, but with this new object model allows you to get an inventory of everything that goes on across all your clouds. And so not only you don't have to retrain your team, you don't have to change your procedures. All your procedures you put in place over the last 20 years, they still work. And then, of course, we're not just going to the cloud to have another place to run an application. We go there to take the application and we turn it into microservices that you can reuse and recompose in new interesting services. So you can use Tanzu that we talked about earlier to modernize that application. And the latest version of vSphere, actually for the last 2 or 3 versions, you can run Kubernetes and VM's application side by side using Kubernetes as the orchestration engine. And finally, security. This is, we talked about it this morning also, this is where we have a very, very peculiar position in the stack when you're running on VMware Cloud. Because in this case, we actually have our hypervisor there. So we see everything. Not only do we see what happens on the network and what happens between clouds and microservices, But then you can see once something gets in, all the interaction between applications on the hypervisor. So something that looks innocuous on the network, when you correlate that event with something that happens in the hypervisor, you realize, okay, this is a threat, we need to stop it. Here's your homework. How many of you are using VMware Cloud today? You gotta go back and try it. I mean, you're gonna be heroes. You're gonna stand up that, move your application to the cloud. You're gonna be absolute hero. You know, I was talking to an employer, 300 applications, shut down 2 data centers in 2 weekends. Now, they were shutting down data center, but if you're just embracing the cloud, you have to try VMware Cloud. It's our and your bread and butter. There's no excuse not to do that. Okay, so let's talk about the third transformation, which is at the end of the day, we have explored these new islands, we have built out applications, we built out our buildings, we brought our know-how, our existing applications. Now it's time for the civilization to flourish. For that, you have to build bridges, you have to bring the power, you have to bring that type of infrastructure. That's end user computing. And this environment is so complex right now. You are accessing application through networks that you don't operate, a mix of the device owned by the company, device owned by the employer. It's really complicated. And the problem with this environment that customers tends to use a piecemeal approach to this. And we believe that the answer is automate and integration and automation. Having an integrated approach to solving end user computing, and that's where our Anywhere Workspace service comes in. And first of all, it supports any sort of mode, whether it's employee device provided by the company, gives you that network quality, right, with the ability to use it. Amanda actually has a great demo where she shows how you use a combination of the satellite and landline to have an amazing experience independing of the level of service of the individual networks. And then how do you get people productive? You give them an app store that spans SaaS and mobile. You give them a single sign-on so they can get to their application securely, and they're in business. And because of our integrated approach, if something goes wrong, you are in a better position to fix it because you don't have to chase different tools. It's all in one place. And finally, in an environment like this, you have to deploy a zero trust type of networks where you don't trust anybody and you let the good people in by knowing the context of what they're doing, not be beyond the two-factor authentication and everything. So, one last demo. For this demo, I like to bring on stage where I'm all set. You know, this was my baby. My first time around the VMware, I used to run that team, and so I'm going to give the demo of end user computing. And so I want to start from the management and automation. Right? So this is the carbon black cloud dashboard, where you see in one place everything that goes on in your end user computing portfolio, where the endpoint status, your VMware workloads, your critical vulnerabilities, so get a complete inventory of what's going on. And from there you can drill down and see your endpoints, your USB devices, just in one place, you see everything that goes on across your end user computing. But then if something goes wrong and you have a malware attack, it allows you to drill down and see which application caused that malware and track it down, fix it, and then this is where automation comes in. You can say, you see this? Now every time you see something like this, block it dynamically in real time. So this is the operation side of things. But at the end of the day, why do we put all this together? I think there are two constituencies that are high maintenance in our organizations, right? Besides the executives, maybe. Developers, we talk about them, and end users. And so the other thing you cannot manage, a phrase, that everybody uses, you cannot manage what you don't measure. And so we have a way for you to measure the quality of the end user experience. By saying, for example, here, how many of your laptops and endpoints are having a good experience. What does having a good experience means that how many crashes they're experiencing. Are they running towards the end of life of their battery and things like that. And so you can see it over time, and then from there, you can also drill down into the problematic ones and go figure out, for example, there is this Zoom application that has a bad interaction with this DLL, the DLL hell, and you can go fix it. So a very complete solution for end-user computing that puts end-user experience first, especially in a world that is increasingly hybrid. We need to keep our end-user productive with an excellent user experience, and that, but without giving you the headaches of having to chase down multiple tools. So this is everything you wanted to ask about cross-cloud services and never dare to ask in one presentation. But before we close, and I'll let you go to your lunch, we have two very special guests. Because, and I mean it, we'll look at VMworld and now Explore as a family reunion. We literally look at you guys as the extended VMware family. But as a standard VMware family, sometimes you don't get to leave some of the culture and the things that we do internally at VMware. So today I want to give you an insight into some of our internal culture treats. So I want to bring on stage two high maintenance, very, very high maintenance guests that we had to fly in on an helicopter and then a limo. And he wanted a full body massage before and after. She does not talk to anybody. So let me welcome on stage Jeff Goodall, who is our Chief Culture Officer. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, live on stage at Explore, Rosie, our turtle.
Hello, it's good to see you all. Thank you, Vittorio. Thank you, my friend. How are you? This is wonderful. We're in person. We're in person. Great to see all of you.
So,
oh my God.
Thank you, Amanda, for giving us this great idea. Because how many of you know about the turtles? You follow them. They're famous. They're on Twitter. And so tell us the story behind the turtle. The turtles.
Well, first off, thank you so much for that incredible welcome here, Vittorio. You know, VMware, we are the kings and queens of culture. We are the deities of diversity and inclusion. I can think of no other company in Silicon Valley or globally that wants you, the employee, to bring your true self, 100% self, to work every day and encourages it. It's just amazing what VMware has done over the years. Rosie. So when I was first hired at VMware as a facilities technician, the words that kept popping up always came back to being disruptive. Take chances. Do it, but innovate while you do it. And I'm just a facilities technician, but there's innovation in a site when you're building it and opening it up. So we had a koi pond, and we were trying to figure out how to get the koi in the pond, the water balanced, and have it accommodate these fish. We were having troubles with it. It was really busy. It was crazy. We moved on to other things because we just couldn't make the time for the pond. I needed a break. So I went off-site to this place called the Alpine Inn, formerly known as Rosati's. It's this historical landmark on Stanford property up in Ladera. I walk in the door, and the owner-proprietor, Molly, is there, and she's really upset. She wasn't happy at all. I said, Molly, are you okay? What's wrong? What's going on? She said, Jeff, somebody left a turtle here. It's in the kitchen in the back. I don't know what to do with it. I think I'm just going to let it go in the beer garden and be done with it. I'm like, Molly, you can't do that. It'll die. You know, there's raccoons, possums, coyotes up in the hills of Stanford. I said, all right, I'm going to be disruptive. I thought, I'm going to do something innovative. Molly, give me the turtle. I'll take it back to campus. I'll sneak it into the pond. So I did. And this is her.
And since then, how many do we have now?
We have 16 turtles that are all rescued, that needed a home, that needed a place to live. And so we took them in.
And then part of the culture also in this pond, we do something else. You want to talk about the dunking?
Oh, the pond, the dunking, yes. So this carried on from a site that we used to lease. If your teammates, if your cube mate, your office mate, if somebody at VMware finds out that you are engaged, they have the option of bringing you down to the pond and tossing you into the pond. Now, I'll tell you, we had in 2018 over 40 people dunked in that pond.
There you go.
Yeah, and nobody has been divorced.
Speaking
that's gone in
of
that water.
family is growing. And then the Turtle Day and the other things that we do.
I tell you what, our culture is all about work-life balance, being family-friendly, having a good time, informative fun. And so this Turtle Day, Earth Day bash, gosh, in 2018, we had over 2,300 little kids and their families, grandma, grandpa, significant others running around, learning about composting, e-waste, recycling, what they could do to be sustainable in the earth, on the earth, and the planet. And you can see here, the Empire visited us as well, and they learned a thing or two. It's great stuff.
Anyway, I want to thank Jeff. Jeff is one of the most delightful, thoughtful person I know. And what he does for us, I wish all of you to have a Jeff in your company.
Thank you so much, Vittorio, so much. Thank you.
We all love you. We all absolutely love you.
I might not have a Linux tattoo, but I do have
Look at that.
turtle tattoo. Thank you, Vittoria. Have a great VMware Explorer, everyone. Thank you.
Well, I thought we could give you a little bit of insight in our culture. So one more thing. Speaking of culture, one of the things that was very popular years ago was the VMware, I love VMware sticker. So everybody will gonna get one on the way out. So anybody has one of these and likes it? So this is the multi-cloud edition. But in closing, I want you to, we have a surprise for you. I've been, talking about this. That we made a special T-shirt just for the people that would come to this session. As you have seen, we have been building the technology that is required to be successful in this multi-cloud world. And I have an ask of you that you use this conference to go and learn how to build how to manage and secure new applications, how to use VMware Cloud to move to the cloud, and how to empower your end users with. And if we all do this together, I think we have an opportunity to extend our journey with one difference, that this time is going to be much bigger because multi-cloud is just that much bigger than everything else. And so I want you to go out there and be recognized as a certified VMware Cross-Cloud Service Explorer. So who wants a T-shirt? Amanda and Richard want to come on stage with me? Anybody? So are you guys ready for this journey? Not even close. Anybody ready for this journey? All right, thank you very much, everybody. Everybody gets a T-shirt on the way out. Thank you. Love you. Very nice.